Beautiful. I know young Spielberg, he's an emotional man, and when he saw this stage production, Nick Stafford's stage production on February 1st, 2010, he cried. And I don't know, for you guys, was there the same sort of emotional response? Or?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the minute the fold came to life, it's that thing of how on earth can I be affected by such naked puppetry? And it's utterly transporting. And I think that's very much to do with what we've held on to with Real Horses in the film, the idea that you get to really care and go on a journey with this horse from a foal to adulthood that takes it through probably the worst challenges or experiences or conditions an animal could ever suffer in the shape of what we did to each other and our horses and other animals in the First World War.
Well, that's the thing. First World War hasn't been captured that many times in film, and the Great War, there was, I think it was about 10 million horses, untold millions of people lost from 1914 to 1918. I don't know, beyond the 2 months kind of intensive horse training, whether you felt the need to go kind of full Daniel Day-Lewis on this, whether you felt, I should really try and figure out who these people were and what they were going through.
Yes, of course we did. And when we were horse training, we did do that. We completely did that.
We did a lot of reading around. Well, what was interesting about our particular segment of the story, which was that we weren't actually in the trenches. We weren't in a part of that sort of. We were in part the doomed youth that Wilfred Owen writes about, and Sassoon and everything. But what was of most import to us, I think, was trying to recreate the attitude of heroism and chivalry and innocence of the kind of young men that went to war in 1914.
And this campaign in the summer that they thought would be over by Christmas.
You know,
so
they were going to
esprit de corps, this bravery. Yeah, sorry.
No, that was it. That simply put, that it was going to be quick. It was going to be easy. Cavalry regiments with their sabers flashing in the sun would be enough to show the Kaiser what's what, and we'd all be back. And nobody had any idea of how bad it was going to be. And I think that's our privilege in a way, is representing the loss of that innocence
and the sort of death of that Edwardian era of vainglorious pomp and unmechanized Edwardian warfare. You know, where it's all about as much about the esprit de corps and the gallantry of it and the chivalrousness of it as it is actually the effectualness of it in front of mechanized machine gunfire.
Much more articulately put.
Hardly, no. I think I invented some words there, possibly. You can rewind that tape and have a giggle.
Good old Spielberg, I think he's really getting the hang of this filmmaking malarkey. And I don't know, for you guys, when you're on set...
Yeah, he's quite handy with the camera.
He's getting good now, I think he's really getting there. But that sense of being on set, I don't know whether it's hard to hide your glee at the fact that, okay, really I've got a job to do, but...
Impossible to hide it. And what's so wonderful is that he wants to tell you all the stories you want to hear. I remember him telling us stories about working with, on Saving Private Ryan, or... he told us a story about Sean Connery and Harrison Ford in an airship in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and I don't know how old I was when that film. I was 12 years old when that film came out, and you just sort of are giddy that you're hearing these stories from the horse's mouth, talking about.
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. Talking about inheriting AI from Stanley Kubrick and what that was all about, and also Jeff Goldblum and Sam Neill on Jurassic Park. It's amazing.
And then playing with the man with an iPad app that's called the Atomic Fart Machine, and him doing the Simon Says option, which is where you have to press the button as it goes with the different fart sounds.
Yeah.
And we were on the floor, and he was getting really into it. It's great because he likes his games as his iPad every now and again between a take if he's got a moment to just decompress. And we were just on the floor. There was one of the greatest directors of modern cinema. He was standing in front of us, playing a fart game on an iPad. And so he humanises the experience. He wants to encourage the idea of enjoying the filmmaking. We all take our responsibility of trying to illuminate or spread some kind of understanding of this very complex, now almost not forgotten, but there are children who are born now who will never meet or hear of an actual survivor of the First World War. It is a long time ago now, so it means that there is a burden of responsibility. We're part of the storytelling oral tradition to continue the understanding of a historical event, and while they're the most extraordinary historical and factual records of it, this is a universal way into a very complex and very upsetting era of human history. And so that side was taken very seriously, as was the technical side and physical side of what we were doing as horsemen, because there's a lot of responsibility to each other. There's up to 150 of us charging at any one time. It's the largest body of horse and man that you can get on the planet, basically. You don't do that in any other field of riding. So all of that was very serious, but there was not a gallows humour, but there was an enjoyment of trying to bring our best work on the day and personality as well. And that was just fantastic.
Sweet, happy evening.